Greetings. I am Jung Jin-sup, the promotion team leader. Thank you very much for participating in today's event, and I would like to express my gratitude to all the journalists from many media outlets as well as other participants who are taking part in the press conference online despite your busy schedules. We will now start our press conference. Before we begin, I would like to update you on today's agenda. First, CEO Lee Young-ju of Seoulviosys will deliver introductory remarks, and then we will have Jung Jae-hak, the principal engineer, who will introduce today's air disinfection solution. Next, from the application experiment team, Dr. Yoon Young-min will explain about the air disinfection experiment results. Last but not least, Seoulviosys founder and Seoul Semiconductor CEO Lee Jung-hoon and former Yonsei University Bioscience Technology Professor Jung Gun-sup will engage in a Q&A session. I would like to invite Seoulviosys CEO Lee Young-ju for introductory remarks. Greetings. I am Seoulviosys CEO Lee Young-ju. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to all the journalists from home and abroad who are participating in today's event despite your busy schedules. Seoulviosys was established in 2002 to develop and produce UV LED for the first time in the world with Japan's NS company. In 2005, we acquired startup company SETI, which received U.S. strategic IT/AR support and have focused on UV LED for the past 20 or so years. And we are also providing solutions, and it is being applied in diverse industries. We are a company with global #1 market share in the UV LED market with unrivaled technical capability. We hope that the Violeds technology that we researched and developed for the past 20 years can help the medical staff that are working hard in these challenging times due to the COVID virus, the elderly and the weak in the hospitals, children who cannot attend school normally, and the countless manufacturing companies that are leading Korea. In particular, for the small business owners who are going through difficulties as well as those going through challenging times on Earth, we would like to supply our Delta variant spreading prevention solution more rapidly to help them, and we are holding today's event to help. We would like to have the people bring back the right to breathe clean air. The Violeds technology is a technology that Seoulviosys, through 20 years of research and development, has developed that can be likened to a rough ore that we polish to glisten like a diamond by developing UV ultraviolet safe to use. According to the type of German virus, violet solution technology is optimized in design for the needed wavelength, distance, angle, time, and amount of energy. Without chemical ingredients, with only light, the occurrence and spread of germs is prevented, and even the COVID virus Delta variant can be 99.9999% completely disinfected in 5 seconds. Violet's technology, air purification and deodorization function has been applied to all home appliances, including air conditioners, washing machines, refrigerators, and air purifiers, and has been widely expanded and applied to diverse application areas, including tap water purification, treatment of skin diseases, and 3D printing.
Seoulviosys, utilizing this groundbreaking technology called Violeds, is continuously conducting disinfection experiments for the health of mankind, which is in line with the company's founding spirit. Early last year, a disinfection experiment was conducted with the research team at Korea University, which resulted in the Violets technology disinfecting 99% of the COVID-19 virus on the surface in 30 seconds. Thereafter, through significant research, the KR Biotech experiment results confirmed that the COVID virus can be disinfected by 99% in a single second. And in July of this year, the experiment with Korea University rendered results of which 99% of the Delta variant was also disinfected in 1 second. Meanwhile, the air disinfection experiment I will be discussing today was motivated by the results from the air disinfection experiment in September of 2020 with KTL, or Korea Testing Laboratory, that confirmed 99.0% disinfection in 30 minutes in a space of 60 cubic meters. Afterwards, efforts were made to shorten the disinfection time and obtain disinfection solutions for wider areas, including large living spaces. We involved our internal microbiological team and advisory professors to at last successfully achieve the feat of reducing the time to capture and disinfect airborne viruses in an area double the size. Allow us to share with you the details of the experiment in just a moment. Thank you, Mr. CEO. Next is an introduction on our virus response solution, the air disinfection solution. Mr. Chung Jae-hak, Principal Engineer of Seoulviosys, will share with us the details. Thank you. I am in charge of air application solutions at Seoulviosys. I'm the principal researcher, Chung Jae-hak. As was mentioned by CEO Lee Young-ju, Seoulviosys has been utilizing its Violets technology and has developed diverse solutions that enable swift disinfection of COVID and is supplying these solutions to clients for various applications around the world. The Clean Air System, a solution that I will introduce today, is a system that captures the contaminated air via the filter and disinfects this air with Violets to supply clean air within a short span of time. And particularly, this is a technology that grasps Violeds, the disinfection solution, with a product that realizes clean environment in the semiconductor process that eliminates all particulate matter. As you can see in the detailed configuration of the clear air system, the technology applies a HEPA filter that purifies contaminated air, a fan to quickly ventilate this air, and 112 Violets light sources to swiftly disinfect the surface of the filter to enable a supply of clean air free of viruses. Inside the clean air system, UV LEDs are installed, and therefore we cannot check the functions of the UV via the naked eye, but we also have installed inside our proprietary UV recognition sensor to allow us to check from the outside whether it is functioning well. It is a type of safety device that we provide. Seoulviosys will do our best to have this technology swiftly hit the markets and to have many people feel free to use multi-use facilities once applying our technology. And as citizens enjoy tap water, we would like to enable citizens the right to breathe clean air as well. Next, Dr. Yoon Young-min, head of the application testing team of Seoulviosys, will present the results of the air disinfection experiment.
Greetings. I am Dr. Yoon Young-min, Applied Experiment Team Leader at Seoulviosys. Seoulviosys has a bioapplication research team that conducts diverse experiments from bacteria to viruses. Before we introduce you to the air disinfection experiment results, let us now watch a video by former Yonsei University Bioscience Technology Department professor and technical advisor Jung Gun-seok. Seoulviosys, in order to validate the biological effect of violets for bacteria and virus for the past 10 years, has been operating a bio-research team comprised of researchers with masters and PhDs in this field. For bacteria, as a case in point, we have been executing research validating the disinfecting capability of violets on surface, space, water, and others for E. coli and Staphylococcus aureus. In order to test the virus reduction effect for airborne virus in the air, which has been a social issue after the COVID pandemic, at Seoulviosys we have built a lab facility that could verify the airborne virus reduction effect in a maximum 120 cubic meter space.
The virus that we use in our experiments is the Pi X174. According to related research literature, the Pi X174 virus has relatively similar disinfection UV dosage to the COVID-19 virus and is non-pathogenic to humans. The results to share today is on Violets' inactivation effect on the Phi X174 virus in a space of 120 cubic meters. If we assume based on research literature, we can expect from the experiment results that we can see similar effects on the COVID virus.
Next, I would like to explain the air disinfection results in a 60 cubic meter and 120 cubic meter space that was conducted by our bio-applied research team. In the air disinfection experiment, we used the Phi X174 virus, which is the same virus used by the Korea testing laboratory. As you can see in the picture on the bottom, our lab was built according to the experiment recommendation methods and the air disinfector certification standards. 120 cubic meters is around 15 pyeong in Korean. And after spraying the virus using nebulizer, we turn on the air disinfector and confirm the reduction of airborne virus in the air. For the 60 cubic meters, it is dividing the 120 cubic meters in half, and the lab was around 8 pyeong in size. As a result of the experiment, we confirmed that in 60 cubic meters, 90% of virus was reduced and in 5 minutes, and 99.9% was reduced in 30 minutes. And in 120 cubic meters, we confirmed that in 7 minutes, 90% of the virus was reduced and 99.9% was reduced in 30 minutes. In this air disinfection solution, Violets acts to improve the filter function.
Respiratory viruses such as the COVID virus are, as you know, spread by droplets or aerosol particles. The COVID virus has a diameter of 0.1 to 0.2 micrometers, but because it floats in the air in the form of droplets or aerosols, it is filtered by a 0.3 micrometer diameter filter. However, the problem is that the virus captured through this filter still has the ability to infect the host. Therefore, we introduced a system whereby irradiating violets on surface of the filter can inactivate the virus captured by the filter. As you can see here, violets from a certain height is designed to irradiate all sides of the filter and is designed to disinfect the virus trapped in the filter within 10 minutes. If you refer to these results, it was confirmed that viruses were present in the filter before Violeds was applied, but once Violeds was used, all viruses on the filter surface was inactivated. At the center of the filter, more than 99% was inactivated in 1 minute, and the virus was inactivated by more than 90% at the edge of the filter as well in 5 minutes. These results show that by applying our air disinfection solution not only reduces airborne viruses, but also inactivates, in other words, disinfects viruses trapped on the filter surface in just a short span of time. The Pi X174 virus used in our research was inactivated by using a certain amount of UV energy, and the COVID virus, as shown in the table below, can be inactivated with a similar amount of UV dosage. This fact has been confirmed by several research papers, and the same is also applied by Korea Testing Laboratory, which is a nationally accredited certification body. Judging from these results, our solution can reduce the COVID virus in a space of 15 pyong by more than 90% in 7 minutes and by more than 99.9% in 30 minutes, preventing the spread of not only the COVID-19 virus but also the Delta variant, thus making this an effective solution that allows citizens to enjoy the right to breathe clean air. Thank you very much. Let us now move on to our Q&A session. As notified earlier on, if you have any questions, please post them on the Kakao Open Chat or the YouTube chat box. We have CEO Lee Jung-hoon of Seoul Semiconductor and also the founder of Seoulviosys, as well as a former professor of Yonsei University Division of Biological Science and Technology, Professor Chung Gun-sup.
Thank you. And I believe we are now ready to begin. Thank you very much for taking an interest in our company and participating in our online press conference. Thank you very much, journalists, as well as other participants who are here with us. We will be covering questions, and I, along with Professor Chung, will do my best and do our best to answer your questions. Because this is live online, the questions can take some time coming in, but we already have received some questions previously, so maybe we can cover them before we take the online questions in real time. The Delta variant virus, do you think it can be eradicated? That was the question. Well, I believe that in the 4.6 billion years of history on Earth, in 3.9 billion years ago, microorganisms were born on Earth, and we have more than 3 billion bacteria. And for the viruses like the cold virus that we have all along, I think we will have future variants, including the Delta variants, going forward. And along with mankind, I think that we may have to live together with the variants. Our challenge will be how to overcome and control those challenges. Professor, is there anything you would like to add or elaborate? Well, new viruses Well, I believe that we will have more diseases that are caused by these viruses and threaten people's lives. 3 years ago, Stephen Hawking, a famous physicist, passed away. And while he was alive, there was something that happened, and he said that new viruses will keep on emerging and it will be a huge threat to mankind. In the case of the Delta variant, the COVID-19 virus, even if it fades out in stages, I'm sure that we will have new viruses that emerge. So I believe that going forward for the viruses, it could be a significant social problem. Thank you.
Let us now move on to the second question. I'm not sure whether I can name the person that posed the question. It was D.H. Kim. And it was about how we can install this solution. And you can think of the air purifier as an analogy. This disinfectant system can be applied to office spaces, to retail spaces, and you can add on the number of units of the standard modules in these spaces when applying the technology. And reporter Kim Dong-yeon from Korea Economy or Hangyong has posted the following question. Yes, thank you very much for the keen question. In the lab environment, the virus that we used was the Phi X174. So this is a type of virus that lives on microbiological matter. However, if this COVID-19, we were trying to, you may ask why we use Phi X174 for a COVID experiment. Well, in the case of this Phi X174, this is a non-pathogenic, and however, the COVID-19 is harmful to human beings. And therefore, in Korea, there are not that many laboratories that can actually experiment or test COVID-19. BSL-4 and above, only labs with the BSL-4 and above can actually do an actual testing or experiment on a COVID-19 virus. However, the effect of the UVC was something that we wanted to understand. So rather than using COVID-19, we thought of the Pi X174. And this is actually being used by Korea Testing Laboratory, KTLA, nationally accredited testing body. They also use this virus. And the Pi X174, if you review research literature around the world, it has similar properties to COVID-19. The particle size is actually slightly smaller than COVID-19. And if you look at the airflow, the properties of the airflow and the flow dynamics, it's very similar to COVID-19. And not only that, the stability in the air is very high. And as mentioned, it's not harmful to human beings. Therefore, that is why we've decided to use Phi X174 to check the inactivation effect of our technology. I hope that betters your understanding. Thank you. And as was mentioned in the presentation, there were a lot of research papers from the US that we have also posted for your reference. Next, moving on to Kim Woo-sung from Pak's Economy TV.
In an area with many moving people, like in the large-scale supermarkets, how can this be utilized? Well, as I explained, it will depend on the space area, and we can simulate the airflow according to how big the space is. We have the experiment results. So we have the standard sets that you can additionally actually place in the areas that need the disinfection. From Daily Korea, we have journalist Park Hyun-young who asked a question about its effect on the human body, whether it is truly harmless. You also asked if we can use this in air conditioners. Well, for UV, some people have the idea that UV is very dangerous. But regarding our ancestors and even my parents, they were farmers, but they worked all day in the sunlight. Likewise for the fishermen as well. And I believe that UV, you don't have to think that it is always very dangerous. UV actually has very positive effects. For example, it makes your bones stronger with vitamin D. It boosts your immune cells as well. So in the sunlight, we do have a partial amount of UV emitted. So in our bodies, there is amount of UV that can be safeguarded by our immune system and in our bodies. But in our system, we made it internal so that it isn't exposed to people, and we also have sensors so you can understand that it is very safe. And secondly, whether we can install this in air conditioners, yes. We have Korean companies and foreign companies that are actually applying this to air conditioners, and it is being expanded and applied to new models as well. In particular, in the case of UV, well, it cannot permeate. But in our experiments for the UVC LEDs, it has filters, so to human beings, it is not actually irradiated, and by the UV light, there is the air, the oxygen in the air that becomes ozone, but in this case, there is almost no production of ozone during this transfer process. So in the UV disinfection equipment of the past, because of the ozone degree in the air, it could have been a bit harmful to people, but in our UVC, it has actually overcome those issues and challenges.
Next is by Kwon Dong-jun from Electronic News, or ET. So what is the price of the solution in the 15 cubic meters? So we can say that we cannot, of course, explicitly mention the price of the system because we don't make the entire system, but we do understand the cost of goods sold or the unit price. So if we consider the warranty of the fan as well as the filter, and if we do a simulation, we can say that if we use 12 hours per day, it would be approximately 500 won per day of cost that would be incurred. And it will enable you to install this technology and also live a cleaner and safer life. So the price of the system would be around $500 to $600. Well, I believe that the set makers, depending on the design and the distribution, may impact the price, of course. But what we can say is that 300 sets via OEM is to be manufactured and to be provided to the self-employed through the associations. And we want to do a pilot run by utilizing these prototypes. And when the local governments do purchase our solutions, we're going to offer at a very low price. So this is not a profit business per se. What we want to do is, for the past 20 years, we've been researching this technology, and we wanted to better the lives of the citizens as quickly as possible. That's the purpose of this technology. And if I may just add an additional point, if you look at tap water, this is a great invention by humanity, as people do say. But I believe that now citizens need and have the right to breathe clean air, and this is what we should uphold. Moving on.
From Asia Today, we have journalist Lee Soo-il who has asked a question. To answer your question, you asked about which products have the application of violets. Well, it will depend on the customer's preference about whether they permit us to disclose that the technology was applied, and some customers will actually not prefer this. So please understand that we cannot give you all the information. And once we received permission and we made the announcement, and on the unit basis, they make about 50 million units of air conditioner. It is China's carrier and courier, and it is being commercialized and used in about 30 or so models. And in a car, we have had the introduction of air and surface disinfection as well. Journalist Kim Dong-yoon asked about 5X174 virus and why we use that. Let me elaborate on just one more point. At our lab, 5X174 virus was used, but the COVID-19 virus or COVID-19 Delta virus, well, there were those experiments as well, but we did not execute them in our lab, but in Korea University Hospital's Biological Safety Center, they have BSL-4 labs that belong to the medical schools. So there, we were able to experiment with, they had the COVID-19 virus and the Delta variant virus. So for the surface disinfection effect, the results by the Korea University hospital were shown by Dr. Yoon's video. And at Korea University Medical School, they do not have the facilities to check how much of the virus was reduced in the air. So for the facilities that can reduce the viruses in the air, we have them in our company, but we couldn't use the COVID-19 virus, so that is why we used the 5X174. This was not in the question, but whether we can eradicate the COVID-19 virus, well, if it is permitted with our efforts, then I think it could go near eradication. But as our government has mentioned, prevention, vaccine, and treatments are important ways going forward. And to also, we need to think about when we try to prevent the infections, wearing masks and having social distancing, we try to actually cut down on the contagion. But we also need to remember that in a space where we are gathered together, there is the virus density that we need to reduce in the air. This is very important. So in a closed-off space, in the air, in order to reduce the virus density, the disinfection system or inactivation system is, we believe, going to be very helpful. Thank you very much. After Alexander Fleming actually discovered penicillin, at that time, people thought that all bacteria can be eradicated, but after that, bacteria kept on mutating, and now we have superbugs, super bacteria, and They cannot be treated with any kind of pharmaceutical, which is leading to many difficulties. And in 2030, in some reports, it is said that there will be more people dying. There might be more people dying from superbacteria than from cancer by 2030. So, as was mentioned by our professor, we need to think about how we can minimize our exposure to harmful bacteria. So that will be the key to prevention, and violets will be a technology that can be very useful in this direction. And I think journalist Kim Hyo-sun has asked a question, and it is Gori. It is not carrier, it is Gori. The name of the Chinese company. It was not Carrier, the air core manufacturer. So I think I might have produced the name a little bit wrong. So in the case of China, there's Haier that uses our technology in washing machines as well.
In lieu of time, we will have to close the Q&A session. But once again, I would like to express my gratitude for your interest as well as your questions and your participation. Thank you very much for your interest once again. And Professor Chung, thank you very much for joining us in this Q&A session. Thank you to you all. And I would like to wish you a safe summer from COVID-19. Thank you very much. This concludes the online press conference of Seoulviosys. Thank you very much to all of the members of the press. And my thanks also go to the CEO of Seoul Semiconductor, Seoulviosys, as well as Professor Chung Gun-sup. To make sure that we all can breathe clean and safe air, Seoulviosys will continue to strive to develop quality technology. Thank you very much.